Got you.
you're back, we will get going. But anyway, we had a fun weekend. So we just want to share a few things. We hope everyone else had a fun weekend. We did a lot of driving. I can just say that, or I did a lot of driving, and Matt sat and looks pretty and handsome in the passenger seat while we drove to first Long Island to see my alma mater at Stony Brook University. We were supposed to see my aunt and uncle and cousin, but my cousin got sick. So I just said, it was like, we've been driving so long, we might as well do something. And I wanted to show Matt my college. And I think he was amazed by a few things, including how dead it was on the weekends. But I told him this is, he knew that I was not partying. I was studying. I was very studious because there was nothing to do on the weekends, pretty much otherwise at Stony Brook. But no, it was a special moment because I feel as though, and I said this to Matt over the weekend, that place obviously played a huge role in my life. And to have him actually get to see where I was for 4 years was definitely very special. And I'm sure that we'll go to Temple at some point as well.
No, I was actually surprised how big it was, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize there's so many different parts of campus, different roads, and you had to take. It seems like sometimes you even had to take a bus, to go to on the other side of the school. So I'm like, wow, this is it was also very diverse too.
I was going to say that. Matt was definitely surprised at how diverse it was.
Yeah.
I feel so anytime that people don't know Stony Brook, I have to always tell them, like, it is very diverse compared to the average college. And I feel as though people don't realize it until you actually go there. And there's just a ton of international students. But I think for me, when people want to know why I'm always interested in other people's cultures and I ask a lot of questions, I feel as though it's because I was surrounded by so much diversity. And I always had such amazing conversations with people in college from literally all over the world. Because like I said, there were so many international students. So we had fun at Stony Brook for a little bit. And then I took you to experience your first what?
Oh, bagels. That was the next day.
But
that was
where?
The next day. Grandpa's Bagels.
In
is it Marlboro?
Marlboro. But
Marlboro,
in New Jersey.
New Jersey, I know. I wanted to get specific. Like Marlboro, New Jersey.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called, right?
Yes, because I told Matt that New Jersey bagels are very different than everywhere else. It's pretty much the only place, except maybe New York too, where I like to eat bagels. I cannot do California bagels, cannot do Florida bagels. They have to be New Jersey or New York bagels. And we got lucky because I went to kind of a newer place and it was amazing there. So hopefully you enjoyed it.
I'm definitely going again, for sure. Without you.
One of the first things Matt said after he had like 2 bites is he's like, we're definitely coming back here before you leave to go to Florida. So we got to find another time. And the third thing that I wanted to say was that, so I have a guilty pleasure, which is I like to watch some reality television, not all. But one of them is the show Love is Blind on Netflix. And Matt and I are watching the UK version. And a big thing that we like to do is we like to pause. And basically, I feel as though we pause how many times? Like 20 times, 50 times?
At least. At least.
A lot. And we will pretty much dissect each couple. We'll dissect like so many different things. We go through so many different scenarios. I feel as though it's a really good conversation starter for couples. Sure. I feel so, especially that are like first dating, because it just brings up like from their scenarios in the show, different important relationship topics that you can discuss. So we have been binging Love is Blind UK version. So if anyone else watches Love is Blind, let us know what you think. I know my friend Dawn, who probably will watch the recording, she's also a big fan of Love is Blind. And I feel as though anytime she's dating someone, or when I was dating Matt, we're always calling each other like, oh my gosh, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And for so long I was single. She was always the one that was dating everyone. Now I'm like, Dawn, I have Matt and I can finally discuss with someone Love is Blind. So anyway, that was kind of our weekend. Anything I missed?
No, I think that's it. I'm ready to go. I'm excited for the
actually one last thing, which is we watched a little bit of football because you play fantasy football. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's very fun to know all of Matt's players and to know who we're rooting for.
The roller coaster ride that is fantasy football. I just can't wait till it's over.
I feel as though that I was very prepared for you with fantasy football because of my brother and my dad and all the men in my life growing up that were all screaming at the TV for fantasy football. So that is, you're way easier than I feel as though my jersey.
Oh,
And
that's good. That's really good.
but anyway, that's a little bit about our weekend. We hope, like, again, everyone else had a great weekend. And so I think that the first thing that we're going to get into is our first subject, which is health hacks.
Yep.
So, Matt, do you want to start with your first health hack?
Of course. Of course. So for some context, this health hack I discovered when I was going through my weight loss journey of losing 30 pounds in 3 months. Well, and now it's actually 43 pounds, which is fantastic. And so this one is pretty much people don't actually realize how much food that they're eating, and they're surprised, you know, after years and years and years, they're massive now, and people are like, oh my goodness, I'm just eating the same things, over and over and over again. How come I'm getting so big? I'm like, well, have you ever tracked your calories? But when you actually get to the nitty gritty, actually track your calories, you realize that, the food quantity, of something as small as like maybe like a handful of rice is so massive. Like for me, back in the day, I used to think like a whole plate of rice was like, oh, it's maybe like, 300 calories, 400 calories. Cause like, these little rice packets, right? But actually when I cut my hand and put a little bit of rice in here and I measured it, I found out that little cup was actually 250 calories, right? So imagine taking that and putting it in a whole plate. That's at least, 1,500, almost 2,000 calories off the bat of rice. And so I think, when people, need that realization that like maybe I do need to go track my calories, they'll be very surprised to see how much they're actually eating, and then they can make adjustments going forward. So that's like my number one health hack, which is funny because you're on the nutrition side. You've actually helped me a lot with my nutrition. So it's kind of paying homage to you because you helped me with my nutrition. So,
Yeah.
but what is yours? What is yours?
Well, first, I'm definitely the nutrition czar. I feel as though out of both of us, I talked a little bit about that last week, how I'm pretty strict in how I eat when I'm in Florida or in a home base versus when I'm traveling. I feel as though every time someone sees me eat something bad, they're like, I'm like, no, eat maybe, I give myself a lot of cheat meals when I'm traveling, but not when I'm home in Florida. But anyway, I also wanted to say that there are a lot of easy ways to track food. I'm curious if you have a recommendation for people if they want to track their calories or want to track their food. Are there any like apps or you just do it handwritten?
Sure. Handwritten is actually very hard, so I wouldn't do that. You actually have MyFitnessPal, and just a caveat, tracking calories should only be short term. Like you should, for me personally, you shouldn't track your calories for 6 months, a year, 2 years, because it kind of just ruins the fun and ruins the enjoyment of food. And that's a big aspect of what I preach is that you want to enjoy your food, you want to enjoy your lifestyle. So there's a free app called MyFitnessPal. I'm sure there's other apps too, but MyFitnessPal is just very easy, very accessible, and is actually well known too. And then I also like food scales. So weighing food, and also those measuring cups as well, to measure like liquids. And you do that for a couple weeks, couple months, and then you'll actually get to see like your world will be opened, because you'll be surprised how much calories are actually in food, and so you'll be able to make adjustments according to your goals.
Love that. I feel as though I'm always on the flip side. Like I was talking to a friend who started tracking her calories and she was amazed at by how much she was eating. And then I was on the opposite end where I was like, wow, I didn't realize how how little I was eating. And like trying to gain muscle. So I'm on the opposite end trying to like find foods that have way more calories that are also healthy. Like it's very easy to hit your calorie count if you eat a hamburger at McDonald's or something like that.
Yep.
But to actually eat it healthily, sometimes it's a little bit harder, especially if you're not eating so much meat or seafood. Like sometimes, I mean, I eat seafood, meat, anything. I'm not vegetarian or anything, but sometimes it's like I don't want to eat that. So if I don't want to eat that, then what are the other options? But I really think that tracking food, just to have the awareness, is such a good tip that you shared, because I find that most people don't know at all.
Yeah,
And I'm all about the awareness. Like I think it's really great to talk to people about that.
for sure. For sure. I love that.
So my tip for this week is, so I know a lot of people that they will tell me how much TV they watch, or how many podcasts they listen to, or even like church sermons, how many they watch of that. Or like they don't fit in a lot of walking. So my tip is, while you watch TV, if you have not worked out, your goal is to watch TV and also do some form of exercise. Or next time you talk on the phone with a friend, do a walking one-on-one. And I truly believe that if people watch TV and exercise, or walked and talked with their friend, they would, if they want to lose weight, or they just want to be more flexible, or whatever their goals are, they can hit them much faster. And I said this to one of my friends years ago, because she watches TV every single night. And I was like, if you just literally, even if you did 30 minutes, you watch TV, let's say for 2 hours, if you just exercise for 30 minutes of that, you would hit your exercise goal.
Yeah.
And I think that that's my biggest tip. And something I used to do when I was really young is I used to go, when The Biggest Loser was very popular, I was very obsessed with it years ago. And I would go to the gym and walk on the treadmill for literally 2 hours, or get on a bike and watch that show. And that was kind of like my form of cardio back then, because I just knew it would keep me accountable. And even now, like usually I go to the gym and I'll put on a podcast or something, or sometimes when we're on the phone, or I'm on the phone with any of my other friends, I usually will walk around my apartment in St. Pete just to get some steps in. So that is my tip, is to make sure, if you watch TV, now again, if you've already worked out during the day and you're watching TV is truly like your relaxing time, like that's great. But I know that most people don't do that. They usually don't exercise and then they watch TV. Or again, even if it's a church sermon, like that's awesome that people do that. But if you watch like 5 church sermons a day and you're on your butt, I think God would be okay with you getting up and watching or listening to one of them while you exercise in some way. And like I said, it can just be stretching. Like sometimes I just stretch while watching something, or we're on the phone and I'm stretching.
I used to do push-ups. Do push-ups, every, when I'm watching football, actually, sometimes if there's like a timeout, or a first down, you do, 5 push-ups, 10 push-ups here and there, and then you'll be surprised, the amount of reps that you'll do. Just, keep it fun. If you're finding ways to, if you're, having a hard time, working out, on a consistent basis, I think, doing these little micro workouts, while you're watching TV, while you're, watching church sermons, or, watching football, that can help, and it will stack long term.
Yes. I think you brought up a good point about like push-ups. Like there's so many exercises that you can do. You can often get good ideas from Matt's YouTube channel at John 5 Movement. And yes, exactly, my Aunt Rose, you can get up and stretch right now while you're watching us every Monday.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I actually have a video coming out on Wednesday that talks about that exact tips, called Reaching the Groove. So tune in on Wednesday for sure.
Love that. Okay, our next segment is usually about one piece of helpful content that we have consumed this week. So do you want to start, Matt, with yours?
Sure. So I was actually watching a very, very early Alex Hormozi interview. If you don't know who he is, he's blown up in the last couple of years about pretty much documenting his business journey and actually giving tips to business owners, entrepreneurs, etc. On his podcast, I believe it was the Diary of a CEO, he was talking about how to bracket tasks that are high leverage. So, I'm sure you can relate as an admin, right? You have so many tasks to do. But I feel like a lot of people, and including myself, they don't know which task, even though they're all important, they don't know which task is the most important. right? And so he calls that high leverage, right? So I'll give you an example, of what I do. Creating content, creating YouTube videos, right? That's very time consuming, versus sending DMs to people, and telling them about my services, telling them how to join the John 5 movement, if they want to lose weight, build muscle, all those things. I view sending DMs as high leverage because it's actually going to help me, you know, convert, potential clients into paying clients, that, brings money in my pocket, that allows me to invest in other equipment, or other services that will help the long-term play, which is, creating content, building YouTube, right? So if you are, kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place about, okay, which task should I do? Identify which one that will pull the lever the most and actually gives you a greater investment on your return. And once you identify that, double down on that, and that will speed up your process everywhere else. So that was a really good one. So I hope that people can take that lesson and apply it to their lives too.
Yeah, and I love that episode that you're talking about, which for those that don't know, we always upload the next day on the More Than an Admin YouTube channel, the full video, and we'll have all the links in the description. But that podcast episode of Alex Hormozi on the Diary of a CEO is one of my favorites that I watched. Funny enough, I want to say like a year and a half ago, and there is a clip within that of Alex talking about him meeting his wife, and he talks about, which I've told you before, but I'll tell everyone, how he met his wife, and she basically said to him sometime when he was going through like a really tough financial and business time, like she basically said something along the lines of like, it doesn't matter, like I would sleep with you under a bridge if we had to. And I literally remember watching that and be like, man, I can't wait till I find that person. So I'm like, to be the same exact way. And then of course you show up in my life very soon after. And I like love that you use that interview, because it's like definitely something that I always think about with you and our story of Alex and Lukla, their journey. But I think that something that you're getting at that's really important is getting very clear on what your actual goal is. Like, is it to get clients? Is it to get your book done that you're writing? Like whatever it is, I think that what you're saying is to know which task will pull the greatest lever is so important.
And they're both important, right? But again, it's just identifying what's like most important. It's good to work on both, but like say like you're working in a 4-hour window, right? I think 2.5, 3 hours should be, sending DMs, creating, like making sure that your offer's out there, and then the last hour should be creating content, right? It's, kind of, high leverage versus low leverage, but they're all will equal the same, into, getting more exposure.
Love it.
But what is yours? What content have you been consuming this week?
So I'm kind of cheating this week, and I'm doing two because they both fit into my same theme. One is, let me shout out my friend Christina Willis. If you don't follow her on LinkedIn, she's amazing. And she posted a recent LinkedIn post, and it was essentially on understanding, as whether you're a chief of staff or an executive assistant, your executive's communication style, so that you can essentially write and help them with their comms, with their emails, with any kind of form of communication that they have. So she focused on 3 things that she listed that I thought were good: was understand your boss's style, mirror it while adding your own flair, and then avoid being generic in your communication. So we're going to put that here for a second. And then the second one that I have is from one of the directors I actually used to partner with, not as their own assistant, but we were part of a women in ads group together. And her name is Asta Gar, another person that's great on LinkedIn. And she basically posted in kind of like a summary, everyone is sounding so alike on LinkedIn. And I'm looking down because I'm kind of reading the post so that I can summarize it. And essentially, like, she kind of makes fun of this idea that like everyone has a hook, everyone's saying what not to do versus what to do. Like the format is all the same. And she was kind of calling out AI And a lot of the
Mhm.
comments, including myself, was basically saying like, yeah, a lot of people are copying each other and sometimes they don't even know because it's a lot of people are using AI for their writing. And the reason why I wanted to talk about these two things is I talked about this with you all the time as the
Mhm.
importance of writing and even adding like storytelling to that is such an important skill, whether you're an admin, whether you're like a guy in your community in the John 5 movement, and even if you're just an average person, like you're not like in either of our communities, knowing how to write and write well is such a lost art in today's age. And I find that it is extremely helpful if you know how to write well. And to my big message is be very careful with AI because I maybe as someone who likes to write and reads a lot, I can tell very quickly a lot of times if something was written with AI or like it's just not their voice versus if someone is a really good writer. And I had a good friend years ago who used to sit with me and critique my writing nonstop, kind of like sometimes I do with you, Matt. Um, Lean very hard on that on writing sometimes. So, but the idea is because I had that happen to me where someone was critiquing me, very nitpicky. Like I would get annoyed, and then I realized what she was doing and why she told me that she was doing this was she was really helping me understand grammar rules, understanding why something sounds better than another thing, than another way of writing it,
Yep.
and it helped me so much in my writing now. Not perfect. Like if you look at a lot of sometimes I rush and I don't like care so much about the grammar, but I do understand that it's really important, not just grammar, but just like flow and
Yep.
everything. And kind of like the reason why I think those are really important is obviously one, if you're an admin, you need to know how to write because when you DM someone, actually, this is something that can also connect to what you were saying before. Let's say you are DMing someone for either customer acquisition or you are DMing someone because you want them to help you with the job search.
Mhm.
So many times I prioritize who I will get back to based on their writing. And it's not that I'm being nitpicky on their grammar. It's more so like, is this a compelling message? Does the message flow? Yeah, if it is really grammatically incorrect, I'm probably not going to prioritize it because if someone's coming to me about a job specifically, or they're trying to bring me on as one of their clients, if you don't take the time to at least know basic grammar rules, then how am I going to trust you to help me with all these other things?
Yeah.
Or how am I going to trust you to put you in front of an executive to partner with who might need help with their emails? So anyway, that's why I think that these two LinkedIn posts were really good. Shout out to Christina and Asta. You should follow them both. They're amazing. So that was kind of like my helpful content of the week.
Incredible. Incredible. I've been seeing some of these messages too on your LinkedIn, and I'm just like, man, people are. It's the same thing happening over on Twitter. You know, people are just copy and paste. Sometimes they'll copy the prompt so much that they either misspell your name or just call you a completely different name and they don't even realize it.
Yep.
And I'm just like, man, like there's the competition is the bar is so low out there. So
Mhm. Yep.
yeah, writing is everything. Writing is everything.
Yeah, sometimes Matt will get screenshots of messages that people send me, or I'll just show him like,
Yeah.
"This is what I'm dealing with right now."
Yeah. I gotta show you mine too. It's all on the request, and I didn't even open it. Just scroll, and people are just trying to pitch you something that it's completely irrelevant. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
it's a part of the journey.
Definitely. All right. Our last segment is on a one Bible verse that hopefully we can either learn from or be encouraged by. So, do you want to start again?
Cool. So I actually don't have the Bible verse memorized, but I'll read it on screen. It is Proverbs 11 verses 2. Since I'm actually doing I'm writing out the Bible, and so currently I'm on Proverbs. So I've been on a Proverbs kick lately. So it says, "When pride comes, then comes disgrace, but with the humble is wisdom." Right? And so it is, pride is all of the Bible. Pride is the reason why everything is, right now, especially, with the fall, in Genesis 3, you have pride, uh, throughout the entire Bible with Bible characters dealing with it, kings dealing with it. But when there's so much pride that you often forget where you came from. You often forget and just kind of discard, uh, wise, godly counsel. And I think pride gets a lot in people trouble. I mean, and you see it, all throughout, Hollywood, whether you're an artist or, somebody prominent, you see a massive fall because of pride. And so that's why it is, when God ranks sin, pride is like one of the deadliest sins, because it kind of it blinds you to see where everything actually is. And that's the whole reason why God sent Lucifer out of heaven, because Lucifer said he wanted to be like God, right? He wanted that, and that's what started everything. But the second part is, but with the humble is wisdom. And it actually says in Matthew 5, verses 5, it says, blessed are the meek. But meek stands for humble, right? But it's for they shall inherit the earth, right? So meekness is not timidness. No. It's actually quiet confidence in the Lord. So it is, and God blessed that, so, whatever journey that you're going onto, whatever, job that you're pursuing, this life in general, always just have a heart of humility. It takes you far, and you won't get in trouble because of your own way. So that is my Bible verse for the day. So how about you? What did you
Well, first, that's a good one. Can we take a step back also? Can you tell them a very brief one-liner maybe of what is the book of Proverbs?
Proverbs is just the book of wisdom. That is, it is not really a book. It's not, there's no stories in it. It is pretty much, it summarizes as the wise do this, the unwise do this, the wise do this, the unwise do this, often in the same verse. So it is just a book of wisdom. Even if you're not Christian, you can still take so much from it. It's incredible, and it's written by Solomon, the wisest man in the entire world.
Awesome. And I'm wearing I don't know what you can see, so hopefully you can see when I stand up. I'm wearing my Woman of Faith Proverbs 31:30 shirt that Matt's mom, shout out Mrs. Fontaine, she gave it to me, and I love this shirt, so I wanted to wear it. Matt,
she's watching.
Matt was going to talk about Proverbs, and going forward, we're going to try to pick one book, and we'll choose 2 different verses within it. But this time, I was like, I need to stick with this First Timothy verse because it has been weighing on my mind this whole week. And I'm just going to put the verse in the comments so people can see it. But it's First Timothy 6 through 10. And I'm going to read it. It's a little bit longer, sorry, but I felt as though every bar was important. And I have my physical Bible with me right now, so I'll read from here. It says, but godliness with contentment is great gain, for we brought nothing into the world and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap, and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. And it's a long one, but it's a good one.
It's a sober one. That's for sure.
And basically, First Timothy is the Apostle Paul telling Timothy all of this kind of practical and pastoral leadership advice. And I love this one because it's kind of about false teachers, this like section of it, and kind of, I'd say, warning about the love of money. So as Matt and I've talked about this, whether it's on LinkedIn or here, whatever, is having money as anyone, whether you're Christian or not, is not bad. It's the love of money. But I think we see, and you brought up, the thing with Hollywood and everything that's happening with P. Diddy. I think this was really on my mind. Matt knows I'm like very consumed right now with everything going on in this situation. And I think for me, the lens of it is, especially when I was younger, I think I really wanted to be famous and I really wanted money. Like I wanted to be the next Oprah. I wanted to be the next Nicki Minaj when I was super young. I wanted to be a rapper or a basketball player. Uh, Thankfully, I'm not either. Um, but I think that this is a really good verse because it reminds a lot of people like you should not strive to be someone who is the wealthiest in terms of money. You should not strive for fame. You should really strive for godliness and seeking out God, focusing on Him, focusing on what does it mean to be godly. Reading the Bible, you can do that. If you're asking yourself, what does godliness mean? Actually open the book and read it. I think a lot of people want all the answers, but they don't want to have to actually read. They want to watch a YouTube video or they want to watch us talk about it, but you should actually read the word.
Yeah.
And I think this actually frees a lot. This freed me because I think that there's a lot of pressure on like, oh, I have to have the most, a lot of people are like, I have to have the most money or I have to get the biggest job promotion. And specifically to admins, it's like some admins are like, I want to support the biggest celebrity. I want to support the C-suite. I want to get, make 6 figures. But I think sometimes we need to stop and think about, is that actually what we want? And is that who we want to surround ourselves with? Is that actually what's most important? And I think a lot of people lose sight of that, especially in this world. And I think, again, seeing like with Hollywood, I tell a lot of celebrities, and I think I'm probably going to post a pretty spicy LinkedIn post soon that's on like, stop aspiring to support these high up people, because I've been around a lot of them and a lot of them are not good. Unfortunately, there may be 1 out of 1,000 that are good. But most of them in private do a lot of crazy things. And I've either experienced certain things or not terribly, like P. Diddy stuff. But I've just seen, even in like the corporate world, what happens, or I've heard just so many stories. And I think that this Bible verse just really, I think, embodies what a lot of people lose sight of, especially when they start making money or they get power. And so I think that this was just something that really weighed on my heart this past week as I saw things.
Yeah, no, like just to kind of piggyback from you. As I said, kings in the Old Testament, obviously having full abundance and everything, are kind of blinded by the mass amounts of wealth. So their decision making, just blows over by the wayside. You have an example of King Saul. Being disobedient to God, and God's like, well, you're not going to be king anymore. I'm going to give it to David. And then he goes on a whole tirade of trying to kill David, and then he ends up, dying himself. Right. So having that love of money, having that love of power, just blinds you into doing heinous things. Which obviously what we see today.
Mm-hmm. I think that's why we always talk about like praying, like being consistent in the word, consistent prayer, listening to worship music as best as we can. Like, I mean, I think that a lot of people will listen to music way differently now, given all the stuff that's come out, at least for me, it definitely has. And I think, again, it's like just making sure that you're consistent with everything you do, because it's very easy to get caught up into like, again, once you get fame or money, even a taste of it, to want more and more and more. And it can pull you very far away from what are the important things in life. I mean, you see so many people that they have all this money, they have everything, but they have no love in their life. They don't have real friends. They're in these mansions and are lonely. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So what is one thing that's maybe happening new or coming up? You mentioned a YouTube video. I don't know if you want to promote that.
Yeah. So I actually have a YouTube video coming out on Wednesday at 10 a.m. It's a long form, and it's pretty much, if you're struggling with getting a consistent workout routine, this is an alternative that you can, at least start with. Obviously, the goal is to get, people on a consistent workout routine, covering that time throughout the day. But, if you're, an entrepreneur, if you're a busy professional, and you are having trouble getting into the gym, or just, again, struggling to make consistency in general, I think this YouTube video can help and will offer insight and to jumpstart your journey.
Can't wait. I have my notifications on for every one of Matt's videos, so you should also. And for me, what I have going on is I have a new surprise partnership for More Than an Admin. I'm going to be partnering with someone in the chief of staff world that I will not announce yet, but probably will be announced either later this week or next week. and we're going to be doing kind of a series together, somewhat similar to what we're doing, but not live, or maybe one live component. But I'm really excited about it. Stay tuned. Definitely keep an eye on LinkedIn or here, because like I said, I think we're going to be announcing it either this week or next week. And it's going to be a hot topic that we're talking about. So definitely one of the number one things I get DMs on.
Let's go. I'm excited.
Do you have anything else on your mind?
I think that's it. I mean, I appreciate you guys. Just obviously, joining, getting better at this as we go. I am super excited. I still can't believe, I'm doing this, this Instagram live. So, I'm just very, very grateful. And I can't wait till the next one. Can't wait till next week.
I know if anyone ever is scared of public speaking or is scared of something else and trying to get out of their comfort zone, let this be a sign for you to do it. Because months ago, I had asked Matt to do this, and he was like, I don't know. And then finally, like 2 weeks ago, he was just like, yeah, let's do it. Like, I asked him very casually. He's like, yes, let's do it.
But like there's more to the story though, because I was consumed with, because week 1 of the NFL season was on, so I didn't exactly know what I was saying yes to. I just kind of said yes, and then I kind of looked, and you're just already on Canva, just typing the making the poster. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is actually kind of too late now.
Listen, you said yes. I was going immediately to Canva, immediately to post about it so he could not back out.
Yeah. I woke up the next day. I'm like, oh man, I really got to do this. No turning back.
You're getting better. You're getting better.
Yeah.
You'll get more.
I love it. No, it's cool. It's cool. I can't wait till week 12.
Let's do it. Well, we should go the entire football season.
Oh, I mean, I'm down for sure.
I love that. But this is just a reminder to everyone that we're going to upload again to YouTube in case you missed anything or want any of the links, or again, the Bible verses we'll put on there. Appreciate everyone for joining. We hope everyone has a blessed rest of your week. Thanks to all the family and friends specifically that popped on. And we hope this was valuable. We hope to see you next week.
All righty. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.